Okay, so I'm just gonna cut to the chase. I have a shit ton of wine corks that I need to do something with. Like, I'm not joking. I have this whole thing, and then on top of that, I have this bag, all full of wine corks. So I would just like to clarify, I did not drink all of these bottles of wine. I actually got some of them from a wine club because a little while back I wanted to make one of those cute little monograms that you see on Pinterest. So I asked if they had some spare corks that they wouldn't mind giving me, and they had so many. Although I did contribute my own corks to the mix. So now that I've held on to these corks for like a year or however long it's been, I figure it's time to actually do something with them. All that is to say, today I'm gonna be trying to do kind of a simple wine cork craft. What I'm going to be attempting today is basically just a kitchen utensil holder to hold like your wooden spoons and your stove utensils, essentially. It looks pretty simple. I figured I'd start off with an easy one. Let's see how it goes. By the way, I'm gonna put the source that I got this idea from in the description below. So if you wanna try to make your own, you can see their instructions for it. They have a really good picture that lays out step by step what you need to do. So definitely take a look at that if you're interested in making one of your own. So to start with, you just needed a can. I went ahead and painted mine black on the outside because it looks like there might be some gaps between the corks, and I just thought the silver of the can might be too distracting. One that they put in the picture, you can't really see through it all, but I don't trust my own crafting skills that much. So I dug some old paint out of my closet. My paints were pretty old, so as you can see in the video, it was a little bit gross starting out. I needed to shake it up a little bit apparently. And my technique might have been questionable in places, but you know what? It turned out okay, and we're gonna cover it all with wine corks. So at the end of the day, does it really matter? But I ended up not painting the inside because I thought the color was kind of pretty. And also I figured it might get scratched if I'm putting utensils back in there and stuff, because I do intend on using this. Part of the reason that I'm doing this craft is because I literally do need something to put my wooden spoons in. Also just because it seemed easier than a lot of the other ones that I found online, and I figured a nice easy start is the way to go with this, and then maybe I'll work up to some of the harder ones. Okay. So when I looked at the picture, they basically started by just putting a ring around the bottom and then you build up from there. So I guess that's kind of just what I'm gonna do here. I don't know how many corks it's gonna take. So I'm just grabbing a handful of corks. I'm realizing this wine club has some pretty fancy wines there, and I'm like, are some of the corks that I'm using on this from wines that I literally could not afford? Oh, my glue gun's not heated up yet. Okay. Well, step one, you wait for your glue gun to heat up. I would just like to recognize that I realized this is a Pinterest wine mom craft, and I don't care. I'm really glad that I got some of these from the wine club because I'm very good at destroying a wine cork as I take it out. So the ones they gave me are really nice and clearly professionally done. So it'll make them a little bit easier to work with. Also, when I was digging for paints in my old crafting bin in my closet, I found my glue gun as well. So I guess there's no need to invest in a new one, but a little too late on that front. So, I mean, this new one at least has a stand, which is pretty cool, but it keeps falling over. So at the end of the day, I'm not sure how helpful that actually is. Okay, so let's see if this is finally heated up enough for me to start gluing these on. I'll start with this one because it's pretty. Oh. Please, just heat up already. Do glue guns take really long to heat up, or do I just have no patience? Probably both. Is this even heating up? I can't tell. Please. Oh. I need to stop testing this every 2 seconds. Nothing has changed. I'm so bored. No. There's an on switch. Oh my God, I'm so stupid. I'm so stupid, oh my God. Since when do glue guns have an on switch? I've never had one that turned on and off before. It's just you plugged it in and you went. What the hell? Okay, well now my glue gun is actually heating up. Holy shit. So, I'm gonna go ahead and finally glue this first one now. I feel like when my camera makes noises randomly, that's not a good sign. So it turns out that the camera I was using to film what I was crafting is running low on both memory and battery. So I've plugged it back in, but it feels like the universe is saying, no, just no crafts today. Okay, this makes me glad that I did paint it already. I feel like my corks don't fit quite as perfectly as the one that they had in the picture, where there are still like a little bit of gaps in between. So at least I can say that part I did right. I'm trying to turn it so that all the like pretty parts, I don't even know if you can see that, are facing out. I feel like in person this looking a lot more like clunky than it did online, but maybe once I have it kind of all built up and it's not just like one ring that looks really like thick around like a smaller can, it'll look a little bit better. So what I'm doing now is I'm just kind of putting like a strip of glue along the backside and then pressing it straight to the can. Probably a good time to ask too if you guys have seen any wine cork crafts that you might recommend. I feel like they're all over Pinterest and stuff. And I know I need to do at least a couple more of these because I have so many corks and I need to not have so many. So if you have any suggestions that you've seen, feel free to let me know about them or like let me know what to look up, because I'm definitely open to suggestions on this. I've seen some cool stuff, but some of it looks really hard. So especially if some of it looks like beginner friendly, that would definitely be appreciated. As you can see, I did kind of the first little ring around the bottom. It wasn't too bad, but it also was more complicated than I thought it would be, but for reasons other than the actual craft itself. Just everything else, you know? Ooh, some of these corks are so pretty. I feel like they must be from really fancy wines. Ooh, apparently one of the ones on the bottom isn't glued on very well. Whose fault is that? My own. Wait, are these not drying against the can very well? Oh, I'm gonna be so pissed if that's the case. Maybe I just like dislodged that one that was coming off when I went to hold it up. Maybe I'm gonna blame it on that. I'm gonna say it was my fault and that they're gonna stick to the can. It's all gonna be fine. I feel actually kind of impressed that I haven't like burned myself that much yet. Granted, the hot glue gun hasn't been turned on for that long. Ooh, okay, this might be tricky. I kind of left a space that's not like a full wine glass in the back. Oh no. Wine glass? Holy shit, wine cork. Oh, is there a short one maybe? Does anyone use a teeny tiny cork? Oh, I guess I could cut off part of one. I have knives. Ooh, looks a little rough, but that's fine.
That's fine.
Should I be gluing these corks on top of each other and not to the can? Too late. So this is what it's looking like so far. I will say, despite how many little things have gone wrong, just in terms of like my own setup, the craft itself is actually like pretty easy and it's looking pretty cool. Lots of user error, but I definitely would recommend trying this. I mean, maybe I shouldn't say that yet because I haven't seen the finished product, but what's there looks really cool. Ooh, okay, so this was slightly too long, but I think if I just put some on the edges, maybe I should glue it to the one under it too. Oh no, this is gonna look messy. I'm trying to get a good mix of like corks that have like cool looking names or patterns on them or like designs, and then just like I need some kind of like blank sides as well, or like not blank, but like less complicated ones, so that way it doesn't look so busy. But at the end of the day, this is holding kitchen utensils, so is anyone gonna be like, that's kind of busy looking? Like, no, no one cares. I have a feeling I'm gonna have to cut another cork on this one. I'm hoping no, but cork is starting to not sound like a real word to me anymore. So I have like about a half corks left of space at the top, but I'm just gonna go ahead and add another row on there because I'd rather have kind of like extra height of the cork than, I don't know, with a little bit of black showing. I feel like that looks a little weird. Oh, finally a wine I have had. Uh-oh, this is a weird amount of space to be left. You know what, maybe No, that's not gonna work because it's definitely not enough space for 2. Is there maybe a longer cork? Let's see. Okay, that doesn't leave too much space left over. No, yeah, it's not perfect, but it's close enough. Okay, so I have all of these on now. I'm gonna give this a second to dry and then we'll kind of take a look at the finished product and see how it all went over. Okay, so I gave this a minute to kind of set and let everything dry, and then I came back, and all in all, I'm really impressed with how this turned out. Yeah, it definitely does look homemade, like it's not like some sort of professionally done thing, but that's not really what I was expecting from this. I'm pretty happy with it. I will say, right away when I went to pick it up, one of the corks fell off on the bottom right away, so I had to re-glue that. But all in all, they seem to be sticking pretty well. I guess there's just a few that I just didn't glue on too well. The rest of them seem to be doing fine, so I don't think it's too big of a thing. Aside from the obvious errors that went wrong, this was actually pretty easy and fun to do, and I would definitely recommend if you have some extra wine corks sitting around to use them for something like this. So yeah, I hope you guys like it too, and like I said earlier, if you have any recommendations for other wine cork crafts that I should try, I will definitely be doing some in the future because I still have so many corks still left over. So please let me know. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you give this a try and please tune back in next time. See ya.